want to open up my heart and share with you something that's really, really weighing heavily. And we're going through trauma here as a nation. We know that. PTSD, whether it's a fallen soldier whose light was snatched by brutal terror, and you try to hold on to their memory, and you sit Shiva for them, but then they're gone. And how do you handle that pain, whether if it's a father or mother whose son or daughter was massacred by brutal terror in a festival, whether it's a young children also go through trauma, and there's just so much trauma, so much need for healing. There was a moment just now where I stepped out of a Blackhawk helicopter in Gaza, and I'm doing this thing where you load the wounded on, and I talked to my friend right there, and he says, for the first 5 months of the war, he was loading on wounded soldiers onto these Blackhawks and trying to get them to the hospital before they die. And they're fighting for their life with everything they have in them. The paramedics are working over them. And I just said, how did we get here? How did we get to this moment, not just militarily, but as a nation before the war? And I just took a moment, because when you're facing life and death, things become clearer. What matters? What doesn't matter? How should we live? What matters, So before the war, we were extremely divided as an Israeli society, politically, religiously. The infighting was relentless. Some of our greatest rabbis here in Israel said something that really stuck with me. They said, you know what? Division amongst us, a spirit of division, makes us vulnerable to attacks of the enemy. And now, after about 500 days of risking my life to provide this land and people with protection, risking everything, I could tell you story after story. You've seen them on my videos. I see how right they were. It's painful for me to witness not only the external threats on the 7-front war, but also the internal ones. Baseless hatred, sinat chinam, it's called in Hebrew. It continues to tear us apart. The sages, Chazal, they teach us that it wasn't because of the Romans that the Second Temple was destroyed. It was because of sinat chinam, because of internal strife, that the Second Temple was destroyed. Did we not learn our lessons? And as I stand here, there are those who would willfully slander me, willfully, publicly slander me and the honorable work that we do as a charity. And I don't know the character of these people. They know who they are. I don't know their character, but I do know one thing. These are a lot of videos personally slandering me. And what matters here is this is the exact shameful division that our enemies hope for. They thrive when we turn one against another instead of standing strong as one nation. And words do have power. David Ben-Gurion, who laid the foundation of this country, he believed in unity and mutual respect, kavod ze lezeh, as a cornerstone of building this land. It's not about this one's Ethiopian, this one's a Russian Jew, this one's a Ukrainian Jew, this one's an American Jew, this one's Ashkenazi, this one's Sfaradi, that one's a Bnei Menashe. It's not about dividing one from another. It's about coming together. And if we use our words to accuse and divide, Ben-Gurion would be heartbroken right now. If we truly understood the pain we cause when we falsely accuse, when we slander, when we attack our own people instead of focusing on the good in one another, we wouldn't do it anymore. Disagreements are inevitable, but we know here in this land, 2 Jews, 3 opinions. There's always going to be disagreement. But we're not supposed to focus on our disagreements, on our differences, but to stand together despite them. Our enemies are not our fellow Israelis. Our enemies are those who seek to destroy Israel and wipe us off this land, off the map. And I, like so many others, have risked my life to protect even those who speak against me, who slander me. All of my unit in Yahalom, and not just me, many others like me, would gladly risk our life to make sure that the very people slandering us would be protected from jihadist terrorists. I'm telling you that right now, I'm willing to lay my life down for you. Do these people know that? Do they know the honorable work that we do as a charity? I know this, no matter what our political or religious opinions might be, this type of behavior is the opposite of ahava, love, geulah, the redemption, tikkun olam. This war must teach us something. It must teach us that ahavat Yisrael, the love of our fellow citizen, is not optional. It's essential. We don't have to agree on everything, but we have to agree to disagree. We got to love one another. Ve'ahavta l're'echa kamocha. Love, you shall love your neighbor as yourself. Now is the time to be one nation. Now is the time to be strong. If we don't hold on to Elohim and hold on to each other, we will surely fall.